Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Well, a new academic year is underway at Missouri Southern, and today I have the honor of visiting with the president, Dr. Marble. Thank you for being here today.
It's great to be here, Judy. Thanks.
And we always have this tradition of starting each academic year, and I guess a kind of open-ended question. How do you feel coming into this year? Kind of a broad open.
I really feel pretty good about the year. We have a great bunch of students on campus. We have great faculty and staff, and all the rain has made the campus just green, as you can imagine.
So really a beautiful looking campus and a lot of activity happening.
A lot of activity. Yeah.
Well, this year was a year when you made a big announcement, so a lot of people are probably curious about that. So I'll start out at the beginning as far as you're planning to retire at the end of this year.
Planning to retire, you bet. Be 65 years old in January, and got a new grandbaby.
Right.
And other things too that I should probably be doing. But this has been a great time here, and this will be a great year. I think this is going to be another great year. But it's time to move on, I think, and get into retirement.
Right. Everybody reaches that point in their life where they say, what's happening next?
Yeah.
Right. When you look back at 6 or so years here at Missouri Southern, what stands out in your mind as far as?
What stands out are the people, the students and the faculty and staff. They're just wonderful people here. And yeah, together they've been able to create what I've called magic before, and I think it is magic. It's just been a magical experience, and one that I've been greatly honored to be a part of.
There's been a number of accomplishments over those years. I know one of the, not a very minor one, is just the reaccreditation, having that recognition by a national organization.
Well, really, truthfully, that's the last box I felt like needed to be checked before I could, retire. I told the board years ago that I really didn't plan to work past 65, but we had the site visit coming in February, and we needed to show stability and get through that. And the faculty, staff, and students did such a great job impressing the site visit team that we got a complimentary letter. It was just great. So I knew then that I was released to go, but didn't want to tell anyone. Didn't want to leak out. Asked the board please to keep it quiet until I could talk to the faculty and staff face to face.
Right.
It's kind of the way we do things.
And then open discussion has been a trait of what you've had encouraged here at Missouri Southern.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to operate. It's just been my style, and what seems to work best is that if you have open discussion, tell the truth, then you really don't have to remember what you've said.
Right, and also, guys, people feel like they're involved. It's one of the things that I know that you've stressed while you've been here is people are involved in everything that goes on.
Well, when people are involved, then they don't just do what they're told to do. They do what they believe they can do, and so you don't have to follow people around all the time. They're just doing these magical things all over the place, and that's something I'm very proud of, is that people feel empowered to do the things that they need to do to be successful in their jobs.
We've seen kind of a transition from the financial side of open book management and so forth to now other aspects of Missouri Southern.
That's right. We've hit stage 2. We started with we didn't have a choice. The financial situation was dire, so we had to address that first and have successfully. We're stable financially now and doing well. So we should turn to our regular business, and that business is academics, and that's where we're headed now. So the metrics now we're checking the academic performance and what can we do to provide a better learning experience for our students.
Right, and so this ties into, I know people have watched in the past, we've talked about the great game of education, which is taking a slightly different approach tied into that now.
Yeah, it's probably going to change names. They're still taking comments for another couple weeks. So,
right.
Can't say that Empowerment U is exactly what it's going to be, but I suspect it probably will be, rather than the great game. But we're still going to stay focused on the metrics that we've learned, the scoreboards. But now we start creating scoreboards for learning experiences.
So the ultimate goal is for students to graduate and be successful, and that's tying right into that.
Exactly right. Last year we went through part of the HLC process was a strategic plan, review the strategic plan. And our board and again the faculty, staff, and students were all involved to create even a new mission statement, which really focuses on educate and graduate knowledgeable, responsible, successful global citizens. That's our mission. So it would. Only goal number 1 is to work on retention and graduation and helping students persist.
And so a lot of programs are developed already on campus, but possibilities for the future. What else can we do to help the students?
Exactly. What else can we do? What other thing can we do? Understanding that it's a shared responsibility to, learning is a two-way street, that we have to provide all we can to help students not only academically, but also with some of the social issues they run into, financial problems they may have. What can we do to help them get through as pain-free as possible? Classrooms have to be tough, but we want to make life easy.
Right. So that personal side of dealing with students, they're not just numbers and statistics. When you look at enrollment numbers, people ask, how many students do you have? Well, each student's an individual. Then.
Right. You need to unwrap those ratios and, get to people. And that, if we can get to people and engage people, one-on-one, and have a connection with them, then they have a much better chance of being successful.
Right. Well, I know when you spoke to the faculty and staff in the opening session for the campus, you mentioned that you still had some goals this year you would like to accomplish.
Right. Oh, sure. And one of the stated goals, obviously, is to. Last year, we were very fortunate that our local delegation pushed through $1.8 million as a new decision item
funding
in the budget. Funding from the state, our state appropriation. But it's not in our core budget yet. So that will be our very top priorities, to try to get that moved into our core budget for all the years forward.
That's been a challenge in Missouri Southern for years, as we've been at the bottom of the list when people compare core budgets for universities.
That's exactly right. We have been at the bottom of the list, and probably would still be even if we got the 1.8 in the core. But I know that the Department of Higher Ed is working on some, they call it true up, trying to rearrange, with some models that might change that over time. But even if that works out, we still need the 1.8.
Right, and that's something that needs to be more than a one-time, here's a drop in the bucket, that you can count on that for continuation of what you're doing in Missouri Southern.
Right, it needs to be permanent. So that'll be the single thing we're after.
So you'll be talking to the legislators quite a bit and making trips to Jefferson City.
We have, and we'll do it even more as the session gets closer.
Right. You also mentioned changing the names from schools to colleges. So for John Q. Public, explain what the emphasis might be there.
Well, typically, colleges will have schools of education, and universities will have colleges within their university. So like the College of Arts and Science, rather than, as we call ours, the School of Arts and Sciences. And I think that simply we've grown to the place where we should consider that. I'll be talking to the Faculty Senate Executive Committee at 3 o'clock today about that very thing. You're trying to gain some support and see if people really don't want to do it, but I think it's really the logical next step for us.
Right. And the university status has been around here at Missouri Southern for a while now, so you're seeing that continued change and evolution of our status.
It's been around for quite a while now. Plus, we're doing graduate degrees. We're doing a little more research than we have in the past, more scholarship.
Right.
So it's time we made the change.
Right. And you mentioned the research and that aspect of student life and faculty life as well, that it's the teaching institution, but we have a lot of faculty and students working together on research.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of ways to learn, and learning by discovery is one of them. So student research is becoming, well, faculty research and then student research is becoming a bigger part of what we do. Not basic research. We don't have a particle accelerator.
Right.
Don't ever intend to be a Research One university, but all universities should be doing some research, and students should be learning through discovery, just as they do with the other ways.
And so the university has developed ways to encourage faculty and students, provided resources, opportunities to network.
We have, and continue to. Our student research symposium was the largest ever this year. In fact, we're going to have to find a bigger venue because we couldn't get them all squeezed in there. I'm not sure what that'd be. Maybe put it in Leggett and Platt or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, have a big facility for that. So, and this is across campus, all different disciplines. That
Right.
you don't have to be a science-related major to do research.
No, it is in fact all disciplines, and that's what makes it so very interesting. You can look at maybe a chemistry research. Some students do it in chemistry that you don't understand, and step next door to somebody who's doing something in maybe the social sciences that I do understand, and they're both excellent.
They're both putting the research process and going through learning through by doing and tying that together. Well, I know that you have also, you talked about the funding, the aspect. People always wonder, well, what's happening as far as facilities? There's been a lot of facilities built at Missouri Southern while you've been here. A lot of changes.
Yeah, we Nixon Hall was opened, and I think it may be the only dedicated math building
just for math, as a discipline.
Of any public university in the state. Not sure there could be another one, but I don't think so. Probably the next thing, at least I know the next thing that's on the drawing board, is certainly there's a renovation of Taylor.
Right, that's been discussed for a number of years, right?
But another residence hall facility is being looked at. So there's at least initial drawings are being well, probably that one's going to happen and be after my time, but sometime in the next year or 18 months, they'll be building a new residence hall for about 300 students.
Does that show a demand that there more students want to live on campus?
Well, when we built the quads, you recall, they housed just under 300 students. I think it's 290 something. They fill up, within an hour.
Want that filling.
So. We think another facility like that, we turn people away because they wanted that kind of facility, and you hate to turn anyone away that wants to come to your university. So I'm going to try and make that available for them.
So with that tying into enrollment and recruitment and so forth, those types of facilities students are looking for college living in their environment.
Yeah, I think that's been probably, since I was here as a student, the biggest change is it was clearly a commuter campus in the day.
Everybody, the majority of the people, quite a few drove, right?
Yeah, we did. It was a long time ago. I know that, the 1970s. But over time, I mean, we have students from, I think it's 24 different countries that are attending now. Students from all across the United States. Our reach has just become much broader. And they need a place to live, a place to stay. And so it's kind of changed the campus dynamics. We have a little more campus atmosphere now than before, and that's healthy.
And you've brought students in through such as the Lion Pride tuition, where you're giving people in neighboring states that in-state tuition to encourage them to look at Missouri Southern.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, frankly, is the Lion Pride tuition discount that we give students in the neighboring states around us. But it's also the great programs that we're offering. As we see, in particular, the Yours to Lose program, for example, where the cooperation with KCU Joplin, the medical school, that's bringing in students, a new cohort, every year. But it's also driving pre-med, just regular pre-med students. Our sciences are just bursting at the seams, and as those kind of expectations go up, then other disciplines go up with it. For some, it's just people have a better view of our university than maybe they didn't even know about it, but now they do because of a spin-off from maybe Yours to Lose or one of the other programs we've developed.
Right, so university doesn't necessarily have one identification, as that's the school for medicine, but you have that, they all kind of tie together.
Right, and often students will come here thinking, oh, that's what I want to do, and no, then they change their mind and do something else, but they still stay here. So it's all kind of working together. It's nice synergy.
Now on the academic side, I know you talked about working with Faculty Senate. There's ideas for generating new programs, keeping pace with what's happening in society and higher education as well.
That's true. Things change. We're living in a world of rapid change, and it seems like change, the velocity is just picking up all the time. It's going faster and faster. So the only way that we stay relevant is to keep changing with the times, and fortunately we have a faculty that really stay probably a step in front, and very, very proud of that.
Great. Well, I know at the gathering you also mentioned, it was also mentioned about downtown. Some of our viewers watching in Joplin might say, well, they bought the library downtown. What's happening there? So if you can explain, what's possibilities or where we're at in that process.
Well, I can tell you that we are working on something very exciting. I can't tell you what.
Specifically, right?
Because we're asking for some donations to make it happen. But if in fact it does, it will be a rather unique program that will draw students from probably the entire country.
Right.
So we'll see.
So the university is still committed to being downtown.
Oh, absolutely. We're working out the details right now. In fact, just before I came over, I was looking over a proposal that we'll be taking to some people.
Right. Well, I know sometimes in the community people think, well, it doesn't happen as fast as they wish, but there's a process you have to go through for these. Quite a process.
There is quite a process. In fact, the process for a facility like that is to come up with the right programs.
What's going to fit in that building?
Yeah,
right?
you really don't need the building unless you have the program that will work there. And I think we've hit on it. It took a while, but I think we've hit on it. If we can just get the funding, that's the thing.
Well, the funding ties into support through things such as the foundation and outside supporters. Is that continuing?
That's right.
You've seen a lot of growth over the years with that.
Oh, it's been fantastic. Yeah, the foundation's just done a great job for us, and to support everything that goes on here. They give hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarships each year, and endowed professorships have grown, over the past few years. They're doing a great job.
So community support. You have been very involved in the community, obviously. Have you sensed over the time that you've been here that that's continuing to grow, the town and the community, the college and the university, and everybody tying together?
Well, I think, I've never felt like there was a town and gown competition.
You hear that some communities, there's a school here and the town there.
Yeah, town and gown deal, but that's not been the case here. But we have grown closer, I think, just because of friendships and both sides reaching out to try to work together better.
So the school and the government leaders see the benefit of each side being strong, or each working together.
I think. Well, clearly we do. We sure do.
Right. Well, talking about involvement, of course, sports are very highlighted, in the community, and that's another way that the community is involved. And it's more than just come here and watch the sports at Missouri Southern, but you have a lot of athletes and programs that are reaching out in the community as well.
Well, we do. Our athletes perform thousands of hours of community service, but something that maybe and I know that. Athletic Director Bergerman at our back to the
gathering, right?
was pointing out that our students, the athletes that come here, they're not on full ride scholarships. We're a Division II model where they're on partial scholarships, and so they get about 17% of their cost reduced to be athletes. So they're really paying over 80% of their.
So they used to have to come with the money to come to school. Right.
And so you'll see some of them with jobs. A lot of them have jobs around town, but they still find time to study, also work on their athletic, whatever sport it is. So I really have a lot of respect for our athletes. It's not that Division I model where you have full rides for everybody.
Check to go to school, right?
No, these are, and not only do they do that, but then all of the coaches and have them do community service. You'll see them all over town doing things, and so it's just a great source of pride.
So with the upcoming football season, hopefully the community will come back out and support the teams.
Well, I think we're going to surprise some people this year. I see a new energy in the football program. We had the opening the linebackers and things last Saturday.
Meet the Lions type of gathering where everybody had a chance to come.
And got to watch practice, and it's an energized process.
So come to the game, first game of the season, coming up the first week of September. And
you're going to enjoy it.
Right. And on the academic side, I know also at the opening gathering, there was a talk about a drone initiative, which I think some people in the community may have heard that. What might be involved there, the drones?
Well, there's going to be a drone program. We fortunately have a gentleman in the area that is drone certified. He was a military, but there are more regulations coming on being able to fly drones, so people are going to have to be trained. I have a dream of a drone racing team, and I think that would be a lot of fun. If you don't know about drone racing, Google it or go on YouTube and watch it. It's very exciting, kind of fun too. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm confident we will have some drone instruction, and I think it's going to take about a year to get that rolling. But there is a certification that goes along with the program, but it's all been approved and.
So that's a great way for the community, people to come in and say, well, I've always wanted to do that, and we can take this class and be certified, these courses, and be certified. That's
right, and I think it has some attraction for the younger generation that they're very comfortable with drones. They still mystify me, but it's like the internet. There's not a student on campus now that's not internet familiar, but I remember when there was no internet. Right. So we're trying to just stay not on the. We want to stay on the cutting edge, but not on the bloody edge, right? We just want to be right there.
Handle what's approaching, what's coming up.
What's important at the time.
Right. And of course, Missouri Southern's always had that challenge, like all schools, that technology's changing. How do we've done a lot with distance learning now. People can watch through the internet and participate in their classes and so.
Right. That's all. That changed. It used to be TV. Remember we did ITV.
Televised classes.
Right.
And people watch TV. Right.
And so that's all kind of morphed into online, and with all kinds of things to help us make sure it's the right person sitting there taking the test, the right person that's doing, we have all kinds of gadgets that we didn't have before and ways to deliver those programs. That, in fact, last week we presented, last session, the legislature passed a bill that said that all college graduates will need to pass a civics exam at the 70% level or above. And it seemed like no one in the state was really taking the lead and trying to develop that program, so our people just did it. And we presented that to the Department of Higher Education last week through a webcast, and they said it's fantastic. You set the bar really high, and I would encourage anyone in the community to take a look at this. It's a civics exam, sort of a course that builds up to the exam at the end, so the student can pass.
So it's like taking an online Blackboard type course.
It is, and different modules. And I swear the videos are as interesting as anything you'll see on PBS. I mean, they're very, very well done. Just terrific.
And that was an example of something the state legislature said, all schools are going to do this, so you had no choice, but you said we're going to develop a plan and make it work. And
we did it, and I remember what the administrator said from the Department of Higher Ed, that you've set a very high bar for the others. So we can be proud of that.
So we can be proud of that program, and the new students who are coming in now are, as we speak, looking at taking that course. And
and we've talked about, could we make that available as a dual credit course, maybe even for free to students, because no matter where they go, if they go in the state of Missouri, now they may leave the state to go to the college,
schools,
right? But if they go in the state of Missouri, they're going to have to pass the civics exam. So if they're a high-performing student and want to take it in high school, maybe we can make that available to them because it's online.
Right.
So we're looking into that right now.
Great. So a lot of possibilities. Well, working with the state the Department of Higher Education, which I guess has kind of changed its name a little bit since we talked last time, or is in the process of doing that.
Yeah, the Department of Economic Development ran some training programs, or they have historically for years, that were shifted over to the Department of Higher Ed. So now it's the Department of Higher Education Workforce Development, and the acronym is DOOD. If you
put all the letters out, right?
Yeah, if you do all the letters. So I guess if they're okay with it, I'm okay with it, but it seems kind of odd.
Yeah. But workforce development, we've heard a lot from the governor, from the state, nationally as well. So that's tying into higher education as well as that hands-on technical education.
Yeah, that's right. Workforce development used to be fairly limited to that hands-on, even apprenticeship kind of trainings, things like that, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But this government's been very clear that it includes four-year programs, even graduate programs, because there are jobs that demand those. And we're grateful that the governor's seeing it with such a broad view.
So including everybody in that picture and what's tying together. So, of course, coming up in a couple of weeks, you have a Board of Governors meeting, and you mentioned earlier you've talked to the board, and some of our viewers are familiar. Yes, Missouri Southern has a Board of Governors, but you meet like every other month, and your role as the administrator then is communicating with them who ultimately oversee the university operations.
Right, yeah, we have a great board. We are losing a terrific member, Tracy Flanagan. Term is up August 30th, so it's just in a few days, so she won't be at the September meeting. Then the governor will have to appoint someone, and that's just always up to the governor.
Right, they work on a process.
And there's a balance of Democrat, Republican, and certain counties, and it's kind of a complicated formula that they use.
You don't know who's replacing her.
I don't know.
But at a board meeting, I know you and the other administrators make reports. That's a means of communicating with them and their role.
Right. We try to keep them up to date with everything that's happening, even between board meetings. But at the board meeting, it gives us a chance to really talk to them in detail. And I think that having the administrative report and the faculty senate president and the staff senate president and the student senate president give their reports really gives them a full view of what's going on campus.
And for the viewers who aren't familiar with the relationship between the board and the administration, I mean, they're ultimately responsible for the financial side of things.
They are. Yeah, they have the fiduciary responsibility for the university, and so they obviously are very concerned, about making sure that the light bill's paid. They also want to know about the academic programs that we're providing, and they want to know about the faculty side. So that's why it's very important, I believe, for the faculty senate president to be there and make a report, which they do, and keep them up to date on all the committee work that's going on there. And the staff senate does the same, as does the student senate.
So we will follow up and see what happens this month and then a couple of months down the road.
Right.
Well, as you look throughout this fall and the opportunities for community involvement, we have the third Thursday coming up. That's become a big event for Missouri Southern, where you're out downtown Joplin.
Yeah, we'll take over about 5 blocks of Joplin downtown. It's just a great event. We encourage everyone to come out in September. I should say that the Oceana semester,
right.
is underway, and today was Animals of Australia. I don't know if you got to attend that or not, but I did. And it was very interesting. Lizards this long.
All these creatures that you don't normally
things
see,
that you don't
right?
see in Missouri often. So now there'll be an array of programs this fall for the community to be involved in, and all they have to do is give us a buzz, and we can send them a packet of information.
A nice program booklet listing all those, and that's one thing to stress to the public. They're welcome to come. They're open to the public. As well as our
sure, absolutely. Our students go, but there's still plenty of room for the public.
Great. So follow up on that and get the community involved in those lines. Well, any final thoughts as we're only in the first couple weeks of the semester, but as you're looking ahead to what's coming up?
Well, I guess a couple of final thoughts. The semester's off to a great start. Our parking lots are full, so I'm getting that. It's almost every year I get the same emails.
I can't park.
And I understand that, but that's a good sign. Yeah, it means that enrollment's strong. I think probably across the country everybody's going to be down a little bit. We may be down a little bit in enrollment. I'm not sure. The parking lots look awfully full, but we may be down just a little bit, but not significantly. I don't think it's going to hurt us at all. We're on a growth path with new programs and new faculty. We have hired some outstanding new faculty. It's one thing that has happened over the last few years is with phased retirement, we've lost some veterans.
People who put in many years.
Very, very good. But with the phased retirement, they get to stay 2 or 3 years, and so the new people coming in can kind of tie in.
Overlap there.
There's some overlap, so we don't lose that 30 years of knowledge. And that's been very, very good because we have a strong faculty that I just don't know how you could improve.
Good.
So,
which in turn benefits those students that we're serving.
It's a long time ago I learned the best thing you can do for a student is put them in a classroom with a great faculty member.
And they talk about how teachers or faculty impact a student's life.
And they will, and that's what happens.
Right. Well, Dr. Marble, I'd like to thank you for sharing with the viewers today, and once again, thank you for taking your time at the start of the semester.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Judy.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on this station. We'll see you then.